So I hope you all can see my screen. So if you can see my screen, just indicate. Just show me your. Just send an emoji so that I can know that you can see. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. So with that, let's.
I can see your screen.
Okay. Thank you. So let's start the meeting immediately. Okay. Welcome, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, Royal Grand Engineering trainees, and Nigerian Society of Engineers, Ikeja branch, welcomes you to this training on Protostructure. So this is the day one of the 1 month free training on Protostructure by Rent in partnership with the Nigerian Society of Engineers (NSE) Ikeja branch. So let's get that on the way. So my name is Usude Kenechukwu Kingsley. I am a training instructor in rent for Protostructure. I have over 3 years experience as a CAD designer or draftsman. I also have over 2 years experience as a structural engineer, then 3 years experience as a training instructor. So many of us might be wondering what we are doing or who we are. So about us, Royal Grand Engineering Trainings, that is RENT. So we are committed to offering excellent trainings designed to meet current industry standards and career demands. We provide the resources and directions that enable aspiring and working engineers, including students, undergraduates, graduates, and even working professionals to succeed in their chosen field. What that simply means is that we are a company that is totally devoted to providing engineering guidelines, trainings, and teachings to young engineers or aspiring engineers, whether you are an undergraduate or you are still a student or you are a graduate, even if you are already a working professional. So what we do in Rent is that we provide engineering trainings, teachings, guidelines, and all that is going to help you upscale yourself in the engineering field. So with that, our aim in Rent, our aim is to bridge the skill gap in the workforce by making professional trainings more accessible. So usually, to get in touch with professional trainings, it could be a very tedious something. So in Rent, what we do, our aim or our main purpose is to make professional trainings, just like what we are doing now, to be very, very accessible. And again, we train you on engineering softwares in a simple to understand manner. We don't just teach you and make the teaching very tedious and very difficult for you to learn. What we also do is that we train you in a very simple way that you are going to understand it according to your level of your understanding or your level of profession. And then we train you to become a professional using building information modeling and computer aided design platforms without leaving the comfort of your home or office. And then we help you in achieving your goal of enhancing and acquiring new skill. So the problems that we are solving. So you find out that people or professionals or students or graduates, people or engineers are that desire to acquire new skill, maybe skills that are going to help them in their respective fields, they often face different challenges. So one of the challenges they face is um, time constraint challenges. You are going to find out that, for instance, if you are a student and can you still see my screen? Okay. If you are a student and you want to engage yourself in learning some of these little skills that are going to help you in your engineering field, you are going to notice one disturbing fact. The truth is that all these training centers that you would want to engage yourself in often have their training times with the same time that you go to school. I don't know if you're getting me. So, well, in if you want to engage yourself in those trainings, you are going to find out that you are now going to be forcing yourself to be skipping lectures and all that. Even if you are a working professional, the same thing applies. You're going to now be forcing yourself to um going into your working schedules and all that. So it's a very, very big challenge that young people, professionals or aspiring engineers will be facing, wanting to acquire new skill. Another one is limited access to quality training. Not all professionals have access to industry relevant practical training in their location, and depending on your geographical location. So you could be experiencing the problem of not having, suitable or quality training centers in your location. So even if they are there, you may be finding it very difficult to, engage yourself in them. So it's a very, very huge problem that people could be facing, wanting to learn new skills. Now, our solution: we provide flexible, high quality virtual training programs designed for professionals who want to enhance their skills without disrupting their work. By offering industry relevant training online, we ensure that professionals can learn from anywhere, anytime, and at their own pace, solving the challenges of time constraints, accessibility, and affordability. That's basically what we have been saying. Okay. So our training is usually online. So most of our training are usually done online, and we offer virtual trainings and all that. So by having our training online, it solves the problem of time constraints, because our with our trainees, I mean our students, you will have the option of scheduling. If you are training with us, you have the option of um, joining the schedule to arrange the time that will be will fit you best. If it's in the night, if it's in the day, and all that. So you in fact you are the one that is scheduling your own training with us. So it's solving that problem of time constraints, and in addition to that, accessibility. Having this training online provides a lot of access for any user, to anybody that have your device and internet. You can join us from anywhere in the world. And the good thing about our training, about Sorrent, is that our trainings are usually very, very affordable. So with a very minimum token, you can be able to afford these trainings. They don't require huge amount of money. So our services: we perform CAD simulation services, CAD training, CAD consulting, CAD modeling, building information modeling and simulations, CAD support services, and other CAD related contracts. In addition to that, we offer in-house private trainings. So the kind of trainings that we offer, that is the mode of trainings that we actually use. Okay, number one, first we have virtual classroom trainings. So the kind of trainings in which we are going to connect different, individuals from different locations. We are going to have more like a classroom, setting, and we can have trainings virtually. And the next is the online trainings, just like we are having now. So we usually have online trainings just like this, and then in-house trainings. So if you want trainings in your house, we do that. Then private trainings. So if you need private trainings like a personal training, we can even guide you. We call it private mentorship training. So we can guide you based on that. Then we have corporate trainings. That is for companies. For example, if an organization or company is lacking skilled professionals, the company can actually employ us, and we can take some of their staff in skill training and engineering trainings and all that. And then here we have campus trainings. For instance, this campus trainings is basically for those in the university. For example, if you're SUG president or your faculty president and all that, they can decide to conduct a training with us. And please, if you are joining, please meet yourself. So your SUG president or your faculty leaders and all that, they can decide to organize a training, a 1 month training, and then contact us, and we can now offer those trainings to the students as we must have planned to. So here, ProtaStructure. Many of us might be wondering what this software is, the ProtaStructure software. So some of us are just hearing it. Some of us may not know what it is used for. So, but for those of us that does not know, ProtaStructure is a structural modeling analysis and design software designed for reinforced concrete and steel structures. Yeah, it's basically a software that is used for structural designs, analysis, and modeling of your ROC members, steel members, even your composite structures, and any kind of structure, even your bridges, your wall structures, and all that. So it was developed by a company called ProtaSoftware. It allows users to model, analyze, and design buildings quickly and accurately, often incorporating building information modeling integration. So what that simply means is that ProtaStructure can provide you with reliable design informations that can be, created, analyzed, exchanged, information that can be modified and even updated throughout the design process of the buildings. Like informations like your bar bending schedules, your detailings, your design report, even your bill of quantities. So ProtaStructure gives you the every details that you would possibly need throughout the conception and design stage of your building. So ProtaStructure offers tools for various structural elements, including beams, columns, slabs, foundations, and supports diverse design codes and standards from around the world. So that means that ProtaStructure is your it's a 3D software. It is not like your eTabs and your Start Pro, so where you have to be using lines and all that. And ProtaStructure, the good thing about it is that it supports various analysis methods, including P delta analysis, and allows for the design of steel and concrete structures. P delta analysis, finite element analysis, and all that. It can also be done in ProtaStructure. It allows users to create models by defining members and importing from beam links from beam platforms like Revit, 3D, DXFs, etc. So I hope you can all hear me. Please give me the emoji if you can hear me. And Engineer Henry and Engineer Christopher, please, if you are in the call, I need to know whether you are in the call with me, my colleagues. So I don't know whether they are here. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. So let's continue. So projects done with ProtaStructure. So we are going to have a quick walkthrough on the projects that have been done with ProtaStructure. This is just actually a tip of the iceberg of what the ProtaStructure software can do. First on our list, we have an 8-story building design. It was actually modeled, analyzed, and designed here in ProtaStructure. So at the middle of your screen, you are going to find the design status of the structure. You can see where the green means that the members design are satisfactory, while red means failure, then yellow warning, orange expired analysis, and all that. So this 8-story building was successfully designed in ProtaStructure. By the left is the plan view of the building. So that is the 3D representation of it. And going forward is a steel warehouse structural design. This is actually a steel warehouse that was analyzed and designed in ProtaStructure. You can notice the rafters and the pulleys and beams in the model. So continuing, we have a covert design. This covert was actually designed in ProtaStructure. At the top left side of your screen, you are going to find the architectural representation of that covert and the Other side, other part of your screen is just the 3D modeling of the structural design. So please mute your mic if you are just joining the call. So here we have a structural design of three-story building on raft foundation. As you would expect, this is just the three architectural representation of that. And here we have our building successfully passing design in Protostructure. So we have here your raft foundation layout, detailings and all that.
Sure.
Okay, let's continue. Please mute your mic if you are if you are not if you are not check whether your mic is muted and try and mute your mic. So let's continue. So here we have a 9 meters tall steel overhead tank that can carry 36 meters cube of water. So it was successfully designed here in Protostructure. It's a steel structure actually. So here is a bridge design. This is just a very small bridge design in a 4 meters, 12 meters of span bridge design. So here we have 5-story commercial building design. As you can see, the design was successfully done here in Protostructure. And here we have rat foundation slab analysis with finite elements. So this is basically the slab of a rat foundation, knowing fully well that your slab in a rat foundation contributes to the strength of your foundation. So we have to design the slab using the finite element method of analysis. So you can see we just successfully done that here in your Protostructure. And at the bottom right of your screen, you are going to find the detailing of the slab beams just there. So here is the next is a structural design of building on pad foundation. This is basically a simple design, just a one-story building. You can also do that in Protostructure. Here is another culvert design. You can notice at the bottom left part of your screen the displacement diagrams and the response to displacement just there in your screen. That is your moment diagrams of the different members that that brought about the culvert. So going forward, here we have two-story building that was successfully done in Protostructure. So in rent, we are going to be teaching you all these things. How do you do that? Where do you start from? And how to achieve a very successful design. So the careers as a Prota slash Beam software professionals. Please, I want to assume that you can still see my screen. Yeah, yeah. So the careers as a Prota slash Beam software professionals. When you now master this software very well, there are different careers that you can, pursue, start following. Yeah. One of them is you can become a structural engineer or designer. You can become a computer aided designer. You can even become a detailer. You can become a structural designer, and you can even go on to become a construction professional. Yeah. So industries where these design skills can be applied. So it can be applied in the construction industry, in the engineering industry, architecture industry, infrastructure development, and all that. In fact, structural design skill can be applied everywhere, virtually in every industry at all. Yeah. So going on here, we are going to here is now like a preview of everything that we are going to be taking on in Protostructure. So we have here how we are going to be going and what we are going to be doing for this 1 week training. So first we are going to start with getting familiar with Protostructure. Then we are going to go through building modeling and then how to apply your loadings on this building after you have finished modeling them. Then we are going to run analysis and perform interactive design checks. Then we can now move to substructure, that is your foundations, your plinth beams and others. Then here we have your detailing and reports. So that is basically what we are going to be covering within these few days. That is Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. So I would advise you to brace yourself, because by the time we must have concluded all this, you must have gone a long way towards your structural design and engineering journey. So day one, which is today, today we are basically going to be talking about the introduction to the software, what the software is all about. We are going to just be getting familiar with the software and others, user interface, setting centers and others. So after that, we can now start treating our axes. We are going to start by learning how to create different kinds of axes in different shape, in different forms, and how these axes are very, very, you know, crucial to your design and your modeling. We are going to do the creation, properties, modification, and then our orthogonal axis generator. Then we are going to look at some external reference drawing, how to use them and what they are. And then we are now going to go into our DXF, and then if we still have enough time, we are going to begin columns, creations, and properties. And after that, after every class that you are going to be having, we usually give out an assignment. So at the end of this training, please bear in mind that you are going to issue a certificate. This certificate is going to be signed by the chairman of the NSE in Ikeja branch, and then the rent. So this training, we are not just going to give you certificates anyhow. So you must have proof that you actually did this training with us and you actually learned something. The one way we can do that is by giving out assignments and then making sure that you submit this assignment and that you attend our lessons. So that is that. So the learning objectives at the end of this class, we all should be able to use different methods of drawing axes to create your axis. We must have learned how to modify axes. Then we must have learned how to get familiar with external reference drawing. We must have learned what they are, what they mean, and learned how to get familiar with them. And then our model, we must have learned how to model reinforced concrete columns and explore the different properties of that. So with that out of the way, let us jump straight into Protostructure. So we are here in Protostructure. This is basically what the interface looks like. So when you are just newly opening Protostructure, I had to reinstall this software so that I can, it will look exactly the way your own would look like right now. So I would advise you to, pay attention. This video is going to be recorded. We are recording this class so that at the end of this class, we are going to post this video. You can go through it, play it forward and backwards so that you can now practice with it. But for now, I would advise you to focus on learning and grabbing what we are going to be doing now. Later, you will still have the time to, practice or rehearse. So when you open the software, this is basically,
Engineer,
yes, sir,
engineer, please check the time.
my time.
Yeah, I think it's almost 1 hour.
Okay, I began by 8:30, so it's just about maybe
It's not
20
one
minutes.
hour.
No, it's not.
Okay, okay,
Thank you
okay,
very
okay.
much.
So the session will end by 9:30.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, in addition to that, if you are in the group, you will notice that I said that we are going to be having two sessions. We are going to be having the first session and then the second session. After which, the first session, we are going to be having a maximum of 2 minutes break. Then I'm going to drop another link so that we can now continue our lesson. The reason is because Google Meet doesn't allow more than 1 hour of meeting. So we have to create another link and then drop the second link for that. So with that out of the way, let's continue. So here, this is your ProtaStructure environment. This is what it looks like. So basically, what you are going to notice first of all is you are going to notice this screen right here. This is basically where you find your projects, any projects that you must have done before. So it is blank. You cannot find anything in this region. You cannot find anything here. The reason is because we have not actually, this is the way your own is going to look. The reason is because you have not actually, drawn anything. So to open a recent project, to browse for it, just go to this place that says open project, and then obviously you are going to have this option that says new project. So every other part of the screen in this welcome screen is actually not that important. So the only region that you actually concentrate on is this region that says this region just right here. Yeah, so here at the right side of that, we have the details about your software and how you got them, your license and all that. So you are going to be getting familiar with that as we move on. So let's go on and say new project, and then give that um we are going to get a Windows, this dialog that says project codes and project name. So this project code is basically the name of your project or the name of your design. So you have the option to name it whatever you want. So let me just name it let's say rent training. Okay, yeah. So we have that. So before you hit OK, you have to choose a code, a design code, not a project code. So design code, most of us, about 70% of us from the posts we have in our group indicates that we must have come across what is called a design code. But for the other 30% who might not know what design codes are, so design codes are sets of rules or guidelines or even standards that outlines the requirements and best practices for designing buildings and other structural elements. So these design codes are actually created by different countries or region, and then they align these codes to their standards, to the standard of their country, with their units of measurement, their units of load calculation, thermal capacity, and the units they take in measuring others, and the kind of activities that go on in their country. So that is the way, that is how design codes work, and they majorly cover your structural, integrity of the building, and then the safety of the building. That is basic work of the design code. So the design code we use in Nigeria is the United Kingdom Euro code. So formerly we would use the United Kingdom British Standards 8110. So that code became obsolete in 2010. So we don't use that anymore in Nigeria. You can only find that for old buildings. So the design code we use in Nigeria, even in your RC designs, if you are still a student, you are going to notice that we use the Euro code 2. So if you are joining us from Malaysia and any other country, you have the option to choose that the design code that is used in your country. So someone said he can't see. Consider leaving the call and joining again, because I think the network is working perfectly. Yeah. So you have the option to choose the code that is used in your region or country. So but for now, I will choose the Euro code. We will still have the option to change that if you want inside the project. But let's say Euro code here and then say okay. Yeah, easier join. Okay, thank you. So when we say okay, we are going to wait for it for few seconds so that the software can arrange the interface, and it's coming up. So I want to assume that most of us have had basic design, basic knowledge in structural analysis, strengths of materials, design of building systems, and all that. So if you don't, because we are going to be using most of those terms, those engineering terms, your bending moments and all that. So if you don't know that, um, don't panic, because while we are teaching, we are going to be providing the guidelines and the manual principles for structural design. We are not just going to be, going into the software and coming out of it. We are going to be also providing some principles that is required for structural designs of building systems. So with that out of the way, so here is your ProtaStructure environment. This is what the interface looks like, as you can see. Then obviously this region right here is your modeling region. That is your modeling region. So that is basically where you do most of your modeling, this region right here. So as you can see now. So here we have your um menu tabs. Your menu tabs are here. This is where you find your building setup tab, your modeling tab, loadings, and all that. And by the left side of your screen is your structure tree. So what happens in this structure tree is that every model you create, be it a column, beam, shear walls, and all that, it actually reports itself into its respective folders over here. You can see now. So here we have your, so at the left of it, we can see we have these folders, this story one folder, we have the story two folder. So by default, when you open the software, you get the story one, the story zero, and then the story one, and then you get all this. So you find out that you cannot select any of them. The reason is very simple. We have not actually modeled any members. So that is why they are all empty. When we begin our modeling, they are going to be reporting themselves to the respective folders. And here we have your axis and then your view. So let's get rid of that. So in your building setup tab, this place over here, you are going to find these menu tabs. They are actually arranged according to in the same procedure that you are going to take towards your modeling. So you are first of all going to start with your building setup. This is basically where you set up the building, how the building that you have to design is going to look. So we have your merge building options, your story options, partition wall loading, your setting centers, and all that. And going further, you're going to get your modeling. This is now where you start with your modeling. You start creating your grids, circles, then your three-dimensional elements or members. This tab here is for your reinforced concrete members. As you can see, we have your columns, walls, shear walls, beams, slabs, rib slabs, slab strips, even slab openings and all that. So we have your wall groups, merge options and all that. So the different options that we have here in ProtaStructure could seem confusing, but don't panic. We are going to be covering all of that as we go on into our next class. Yeah, as we go on further into this class. So after that, we get your loading. So after doing that, you get your loading tab. This is basically where you define your load cases, your horizontal loads, your wind loads, your partition wall loads, slab loads, seismic loads if you are designing for buildings that are going to be subjected to earthquake loadings and all that. So this is basically where you define all of that, line loads, pattern loading definitions, and all that. So here is your review tab where you check whether your buildings are well modeled. And the next is your analysis. After doing that, you run analysis of your building. Here we have your finite element analysis, load decomposition by finite elements, lab strips, building analysis, then your interactive designs and designs. So different design for your different members, columns, story beams, rib beams, foundation beams, pad footings, pie caps, and all that. So then you have the option to create your drawings, detailings, reports, design calculation sheets, bar bending schedules. This is the place that you get to, create that. And the next tab is your building information modeling tab to import or export your models from Revit as you would want. And here you see your display tab and then your views tab, then your help. So we are going to be exploring each and every function in this software one after the other. So don't get confused by all those softwares. So because we are going to be diving into them one after the other, and gradually you are going to be getting familiar with them. So with that out of the way, we are going to start with what we have first. So first, after the introduction, the next thing on our agenda is our axis creation, properties, modification, and just basically just about our axis. So axes are very important um, entities in your modeling. So they are very, very crucial to your modeling. So the way that your axes are positioned, it goes a long way to determine the structural integrity of your buildings, because all your members, both your columns, your beams, your slabs, your foundation elements can only be placed when there are axes or at axis intersections. So if you don't get your axis, creation very, very well, you are going to be having a huge amount of problems in your modeling. So let's get on to that. So to create your axis, you go to the modeling tab at the top left side of your screen. You are going to find the grids tool here. Let me draw a windows for you to see that, and slowly, yeah. So we have your grids and then we have your orthogonal axis generator. So this is basically the two basic methods of creating your axis, your grid, and then the orthogonal axis generator. Then the third way of creating axis is DXF import. That is importing all axes from a DXF drawing file from AutoCAD or any other DXF integrated drawing software. So that is that. So let us begin with our grid creation by using the grid icon over there. So this method of axis creation, that is by using this axis toolbar, is just a method that is used to build axes individually by individually, that is drawing axis by clicking on the modeling screen. This is very, very similar to the way that you create your lines in AutoCAD. So if you are familiar with AutoCAD, you are going to notice um, it's the same thing with drawing your lines. That is basically how to create axis. That is the first way of creating axis. So to do that, let's click on it. Click on the grid icon there in your modeling tab. Go to your modeling tab. Click on the grid icon. So when you do that, one thing you're going to notice is this grid properties dialog over here. This dialog just basically um, tells you about the properties of the axis you are going to be creating. This properties dialog appears whenever you want to create any of your members. So this is the axis properties dialog. So you can choose to drag that and dock it anywhere. So you can dock it to the left, just like so. And at the top, you are going to find the label of the axis, and here is the length, and here we have the um, insertion method of axis. So basically we have three methods of axis insertion. We have here the single segment axis insertion method, and second here is your multi-segment axis insertion method, and then we have your curved axis insertion method over there. So let us begin with our single segment method of axis insertion. This is basically to create a straight line axis by clicking or specifying a start point and an end point of your axis line. So let's leave the insertion method as the single segment axis insertion method. And when we have done that, so what you are going to do to create your axis, just come to anywhere on your modeling screen. You can zoom in or out. Okay, our call is going to end in 15 minutes. So you can zoom in or out to, adjust your modeling screen. So click on your first point of insertion, then specify your second point and click on that. So you are going to, when you click on your first point, you are going to get this kind of rubber band tool that just goes like that. So you can track that and then place on your second point of axis insertion. So hold down on your control key to make sure that you have, a very straight line, just like so. Hold down your control key on your keyboard to make sure you have a straight line, and then click specify on your second point. And when you have clicked that, you are going to have your axis. Can you see it now? So we have now successfully created our first axis. It's actually a horizontal axis. So you can see the label of that axis here, and you can notice also in our properties dialog we have the same label of that axis, and then the length of this axis is 20,000 millimeters, that is 20 meters. Now let's create another axis. To create an axis that has a specified length, of axis. That is, you want to create the axis and you want to specify the length. First, specify your first point of axis intersect, your first point of axis placement, just like so. You are going to get this rubber band. Then press Shift plus F2 key on your keyboard, or just press F2 key on your keyboard. Shift plus F2. So you are going to get this option that actually allows you to impute the axis length. So you have the option to input any length you want. So let's say 15,000 millimeters. You can input any length you want. I just want to say 15,000 for now, and then say enter. So when you have done that, you are now going to have the axis of 15,000 millimeters in length, just like so. Then hold down on your control key to now place it wherever, to now position it very well and make sure it is horizontal. So can you see what we have done successfully done? You are going to notice that this axis that is red in color is selected, and you can notice the level of that axis corresponding to the label on the properties dialog. So whenever you select an axis, it corresponds to the properties on your properties dialog is going to correspond to the properties of that axis. So that is that. So we have now successfully created two axes. One axis was now created without a specified distance, and then the second axis was now created with a specified distance. So someone said whether I can explain that again. So the truth is that this video is going to be recorded. It's now recorded, so you can review that. So let's do that again. So to create your axis, to create that again with a specified distance, simply click on your first point of axis insertion, then press Shift plus F2 key on your keyboard and specify the distance so that you get the options of specifying the distance, and then say something like 16,000 millimeters, and then say enter. So you have now inserted the axis length or distance. Then hold down your control key to ensure that your axis length, your axis is actually is perpendicular to the horizontal, just like so. and then click that place. So we have now created another axis. So let us now create a diagonal axis. That is an axis that is inclined at some angle to the horizontal, maybe a diagonal axis. So to do that, that's actually very simple. Just click on your first point of axis insertion. We are going to get the rubber band tool as usual, then press shift plus F2 key on your keyboard to now insert the length of that angle, just like we have done before. Let's say in this case, let's say 15,000 millimeters, and then don't say enter. Press tab after inputting the length, then press tab so that the option is going to shift to the angle insertion part. So you will have the option to insert your angle. So after inserting the length, don't click enter, click tab so that you get the option to insert the angle. So let's say 20 degrees, you can choose 30 degree, you can go as high as 60, any angle that you would want. For the sake of this class, let's just say 20 degree and down, say enter. So when you have done that, you are going to notice this diagonal axis have been successfully created. Can you see it now? So this axis have been successfully created. So please, Mr. Engineer Henry, please, I need your help. Submit and place the attendance link on the group so that people can start filling their attendance. So in the next 8 minutes, I will drop the second link for our second class in the group chat. So once we leave this call in like 9 minutes, just go to your group chat immediately, then click on that link and then come back for our for the second part of our class. So that is basically that about creating your diagonal axis and then your horizontal axis. Now to create your vertical axis, that is very very simple. Engineer Henry, please, I need your help. The attendance form. Thank you. So to create your vertical axis, to do that is very simple. Click on your first point, just like so. Instead of going this way, just go up, just like so, and then hold down your control key and then click there. So you have that. So you can do that again. This time, let's create a vertical axis that is going to be crossing this axis. So click on your first point of insertion, get this rubber band tool. Now shift plus F2. I'm sorry, I don't know what just happened. Now press shift plus F2 on your keyboard. So it seems that we are having technical issues. So let's rectify that. Let's rectify that. So can you guys see my screen? So I think we are going to end this call here. So please, if you're online, I need you to fill the attendance before you end this call. The attendance is still going to be dropped on the next call. In our subsequent, meetings, we are going to be creating videos that are actually going to be that you need to follow through before you know before attending the class. So our classes are mainly going to be for answers questions and answers where you are finding it difficult and the things you are finding it difficult to do. So, but mainly we are going to be dropping the videos on YouTube and then sending the link on the group chat on our WhatsApp group so that you have the option to, replay the video front and back and observe the different ways that the that we have done. And in that video, we are going to be having more time to deeply and slowly explain these things so that you will get to understand them. So when we come back in our next call, what we are going to be creating is multi-segment axis. This multi-segment axis is basically this option is basically used to create a single axis with multiple
Engineer,
segments. Yes, sir.
the course code for the attendance form.
Yes, sir.
The course code for the attendance form. I've dropped
Okay,
the
the
attendance form in
the
the
course
group.
code for the attendance form is going to be Protosoftware. Protosoftware 123. Let me write it down so that you can see that. So here's the course code Prota. Can you see my screen? That is our course code Protosoftware 123. Just write it like that as the course code Protosoftware 123. So that is that. So when we come back, we are going to be creating our multi-segment axis that is basically used to create axis of any shape, triangular axis, rectangular axis, different, um, irregular shapes of axis. That we create that in our ProtaStructure. So that is that for this class. So the link is going to be dropped in the next few minutes. Adios. Okay, someone is asking whether I can drop the form in the WhatsApp group. I actually cannot do that. The reason is because we need the form to be filled by those who are actually present. So if you are absent, if you are dropping it on the WhatsApp group, that means everybody will have the option to fill it. So we only drop the form in our group, in our call, so that people that are on the call they can be the only ones that have the option to access the form. So thank you very much. God bless you. So go to the WhatsApp group. The second link is there, like right now, and let's start our second class.